crypto community leaders in the XRP community seem to be getting each other wrong. There is back and forth about XRP between the Black Swan capitalist brothers and Beyond Broke. Could it be paid for with gold? We're going to talk about what's going on, and I'll also give you David Schwartz's 10 biggest XRP myths. What you need to know, let's get it. So putting the facts straight, Jake Claver, Beyond Broke, I want to directly respond to what you said in your last video about XRP being backed by gold. That comment was made by my brother and me, as you said. That's why, even though you didn't say our names the second time, it was clear that you were talking about us. That's why I think it's only fair that we make it clear and true for the record, starting with the fact that neither of us has ever said or claimed that XRP could be tied to gold. We have thought about it, though, but that's not what we've said in public or private as a fact in the past. Like many others in the space, including people you work with, we looked into and made guesses about a number of ideas that were popular at the time. When David Schwartz, Ripple's CTO, first talked about XRP, he said it was like digital gold that could be sent anywhere. This analogy stuck, especially when people were talking about XRP's role at the central bank level in cross-border payments. But our conclusions were based on the study we did. It made sense to think that way. We even said that if stablecoins are released on the XRP ledger, whether they're tied to gold, other commodities, or fiat currencies, then XRP will be linked to those assets in some way. And XRP is designed to make it easier for these tokens to trade with each other. This means that even though it's not backed by gold, its value is tied to the value and amount of the assets that are traded on the chain. That alone makes a structural link between XRP and other real-world assets that are released on the XRP ledger. We've gone into great depth. This is not only technically or technologically possible, but also very likely, especially since XRP keeps changing into a platform for tokenized goods and stablecoins. The plan is for XRP to be a go-back currency. This is because XRP is a bridge asset, which means it sits at the center of a larger network of tokenized value that includes gold and other commodities. This gives it exposure and systemic relevance without having direct backing. To make my point, we are some of the few people who didn't just believe all the speculations. We actually went back to the original source, kept up with changes in technology at the institutional level, and changed our minds in public when new information about what we had written came to light. We made it very clear in many videos, blog posts, and live chats with real experts that XRP will not be tied to gold. Stablecoins are going to, and that clear difference is important on its own. We believe that everything we say and do is based on facts, not theories. As I said before, it's not about views, it's about facts and proof. We broke the news in 2021 that the World Bank had released a report called EMDs and Digital Currency. This report specifically mentioned Ripple and Stellar infrastructure as parts of a suggested stablecoin model that was meant to help emerging markets and economies stay stable. That study even talked about using gold-pegged stablecoins instead of XRP as a way to keep value or improve monetary stability in places where currencies are volatile. That's not our idea. That comes from papers that the World Bank and the IMF have made public. They are in charge then. This separation was backed up by Ripple's own regulatory reports and strategic positioning over the years. XRP is meant to be a neutral bridge asset for real-time value transfer and liquidity. Gold-backed stablecoins, on the other hand, are meant to protect value and keep the money supply stable. In the structure of the new financial system that is being built, these are two very different jobs. We've always gone into that in great detail. Long before it was cool to do so, people have been copying our research, rewording it, and passing it off as their own for a few years now. That's why I'm addressing this so openly and with some anger. Some of the people who are now repeating our results in a different way were not around when we were setting the stage for these conversations. Instead of giving credit to the original source, you and some of your team have changed our words and the historical background to make your comments look smarter than ours. Please be more specific about what you mean when you say that people shouldn't listen to people who don't know what they're talking about. We've been doing the work for a long time before you came in. So there is some drama and tension between these different producers. Let's just finish this, I think. We've never gone after news stories or repeated what other people have said. We look into technical papers, rules and regulations, and institutional FI less, and we keep an eye on how things are changing all the time. Many of the things we've seen as insights are just reused content from videos, threads, and breakdowns that we already made public and backed up with information and timestamps. To be clear, we're not asking for credit. We're just asking that you get it right. People should expect a full and factual reaction if you're going to use our names and then lie about what we've said or done, especially in this sensitive area. So here's an example of their situation along with all of their jobs and dates over time. That being said, David Schwartz put out these 10 false beliefs and myths about XRP that have been proven false. XRP can't be tied to gold, silver, or anything else for that matter. In theory, there's nothing stopping someone from trying to set the price, but it's silly to expect them to do it when it's hard to see why they would want to. Also, XRP can't just turn into a stablecoin. The stablecoins that are based on XRP are not XRP. The XRP needs power to work. You can only have XRP on XRP. If you don't, it's just an IOU. ISO 2022 has nothing to do with XRP. You don't need XRP to use Interledger. The XRP ledger will not be crossed by any money in the world. Your XRP will not be bought back by the US government. And finally, at least 10, RippleNet is not at all like the XRP database. Now, to get back to this dispute, I believe that everyone's views change over time. Plus, if your thoughts don't change, you must listen to the same person too much, right? You need to keep thinking, questioning, and re-reasoning things, and you need to get to the heart of everything. I have met Versant and talked to him more than once. I have to say that this guy is a real gentleman. He is incredibly smart, bright, and knowledgeable. When it comes to blockchains, the IMF and the World Bank, he can break down a lot of the technical terms and make them easier for people who don't know much about them. Now, Jake is not only broke, but he's also a very interesting person. You don't need XRP to use Interledger. The XRP ledger will not be crossed by any money in the world. Your XRP will not be bought back by the US government. And finally, at least 10, RippleNet is not at all like the XRP database. Now, to get back to this dispute, I believe that everyone's views change over time. Plus, if your thoughts don't change, you must listen to the same person too much, right? You need to keep thinking, questioning, and re-reasoning things, and you need to get to the heart of everything. I have met Versant and talked to him more than once. I have to say that this guy is a real gentleman. He is incredibly smart, bright, and knowledgeable. When it comes to blockchains, the IMF, and the World Bank, he can break down a lot of the technical terms and make them easier for people who don't know much about them. Now, Jake is not only broke, but he's also a very interesting person. Very smart, very bright, and very linked. This seems like a simple case of misunderstanding. Plus, every artist is looking for a way to get ahead. And I think we'll lose sight of what we're really trying to do if we start throwing things at each other and attempting to hit each other in the back. We want to teach people about something that is important to us. I mean, if Versailles or Jake's lives are like mine, I live, breathe, and eat XRP and the crypto space. So do these experts. Also, I think it's important to know that your views will change over time. And when they do, if you can say, hey, this is why I've changed my mind, that would be great. You learned this, this, and this about growing as a person that you know. And I love that so much. I think this small fight between these two groups will be over soon. However, it seems like everyone here is trying to find out what's new and what's going to happen. We can now say for sure that XRP is not BA, caked by gold in any way. However, it looks like stablecoins will be, and we might see that on the XRP records soon. All of this is getting really exciting. As a way to show you some other things, they had linked this all to a 3-minute movie. Sign off, people who don't want to watch this movie. I hope you're having a great day, but I'm going to play this and give you some extra background. That's straight from the World Bank, who said that the whole story of safe coins is based on the Ripple network and the Stellar network. We looked into the bank for international settlements in great detail, and I will soon be able to show you the document. In it, they talk about 2 types of money, private money and central bank money. These 2 types of money fall into the bank for international settlements taxonomy. These 2 are the only ones that fit that description and have been taken in by them. In this case, too, you should look here instead of over there. That's why they're advertising Bitcoin so hard. They know that most people don't know what we're trying to explain here. These are the real facts about what's going on below the surface.